Hey everyone and welcome to today's video. So I've been busy over the weekend fitting lots of parts to the R56 to transform the back end. What I thought was I've done a couple of in-depth fitting videos for those parts. So I'm going to do a quick video here that's more of a vloggy type, just talking you through what I've done, why I've done it, and then I'll obviously show you the results of it. So for those that have seen many of my previous cars, on the back end especially, one of the things that really appeal to me are big wings. There's no surprise here in terms of what wings going on the back of here. I mean, if you look at my BRZ, for example, that's got the big carbon wing on it. That adds downforce, being rear-wheel drive, and looks really cool. In terms of the R53, I obviously had the G-Wing, which I was involved in from the start. If anyone's seen the Orange video, that I did a history of Orange, it's also on the channel. Check that out, and it gives you all the background from when it started to where it is now. No longer affiliated with Orange, but great friends with Ollie, who runs the company now. There was only one choice for me in terms of going for a wing on the back of the car, and that's obviously the G-Wing, the original GP style replica wing. It's come on leaps and bounds since it was first designed, and those early iterations to what's now on the back of the car. So it's one of the later versions that now I've got. So I've took that off my R53. For me, I love the fact it works on both cars. It works on the R53, it works on the R56. It's a top quality product and looks the part too. Fitting wise, it's not too bad. Around half an hour it took me to fit the wing, and that includes drilling all the holes, riv nuts, etc. So it's not too in-depth a process. So there'll be a fitting video for the G-Wing coming over the next week onto the channel. I'm just doing a bit of editing on that one, and that will cover how to fit a G-Wing to an R56, so keep an eye on the channel for that one. Then what's the other update? So the GP2 Diffuser. So I looked at lots of different options in terms of the diffusers, whether it was the challenge diffusers, so they're like the fiberglass ones. I know you can get carbon versions of those. Then you've got the GP2, which is the OEM sort of clip-on one from Mini themselves. So it's the one that was on the special edition GP2. And for me, that one really impressed the fact it's OEM fit all clips, there's no cutting, etc. So there's a fitting video coming onto the channel as well in the next 7 days that will also cover how to fit the GP2 diffuser. I did consider the challenge diffusers, but for me, I just didn't want to start cutting bumpers, and I've seen some really good fits on those, and I've seen some really poor. So I don't know whether that's down to the product, the people fitting it to the car, the way they do it, but I wanted something that felt OEM but also did the job. So obviously the GP2 ones, they didn't put them on the car just for the sake of it, just for the looks. Otherwise they would have just done that outer trim like they do on the F56. The fact that you get those tunnels that clip onto the underfloor that you already get on the R56, for me was a really big bonus. Okay, so both parts I obviously bought through Orange Performance. Obviously the G-Wing was originally off the R53, so I'll show you me taking that off. But also the GP2 diffuser, so you can get that from Mini, but you have lots of issues in terms of having to provide chassis numbers and things like that. So I fully recommend getting that from Orange Performance if you're after one, just like me. So let's get outside now and go look at the car. Okay, so before I go to that back end, I am going to just stick some clips in here in terms of me removing the wing from the R53, so you can understand why in the fitting video I give you a couple of different options, because my wing was obviously already fully constructed because I'd already built it to go on the back of the R53, but I also splice some clips in there, so if you're buying one brand new from Orange and you've got the sides separate, that's the way I'd recommend. Or if you want to take the wing apart, because it's just a bit tricky to try and manhandle that wing on the back of the car to be able to draw the dots. So fully recommend, if you can, to get the sides off before you actually try and line them up on the back of the car and draw the dots to be able to drill into the boot lid, because you've only got one chance to get that right. Okay, so we're just over at the R53, so I just want to get the wing off the car. So it couldn't be any simpler. All we need is one tool just to remove that. It's 4 bolts, to each end, and we'll get it removed. So let's open that up. And you can see here, I've put just some fabric down just to protect the roof. Let's get it removed. Oh, battery ran out. Let's go grab a new battery. Okay, so take 2 with the new battery. So it's super easy to get the G-Wing on and off the car once you've got all the fixtures and fittings. So you can see 2 bolts and it's off the car. Okay, and here's the back end, so really pleased with it. So obviously when you look at the front of the car, we've got the aggressive bonnet scoop, the JCW bumpers, etc. Then down the side you've got the JCW skirts. The car's obviously lowered and has got those Oz wheels. So the back end was really lacking in any sort of aggression. So I mean, when you look down at the GP2 Diffuser, it sticks out sort of 1 inch, 2 inches out the back of the car. So I really like that, and works well with the JCW exhaust that I've got on there. Then when you come to the G-Wing, so if we just take a look at that now, I mean the fit and finish on those are perfect anyway. I've got nothing to hide in terms of that. Let me grab the keys and pop the boot lid so that you can see. So the one thing, I'm a big advocate of the G-Wing, and comparing it to some of the sort of the replicas where people have brought a G-Wing and then copied it. I mean, if you look at the way it just fits on the back of here, it's obviously different to what it does on the GP2 and the GP1 because they have cutouts in the glass and things like that. But Orranje has designed this so there's little washers on the back of it in the design of this, so there's no stress on any of this fiberglass that you see on some of the replicas. But let me just flip the camera around. I mean, you can see there, if you look in, fits perfectly. No issues with it. Paint finish is amazing on it. You can see have the orange decal underneath. They've done a lot of work to tidy all that up. Oh, that's popped undone. Clip that back up. Then if we drop that, come all the way around, and I've gone for the matte finish sides on those. So this is exactly as the spec on my R53 and works really well. So as covered in the fitting video, you do have to go for a Mini 1 or a Cooper spoiler to make that work on the back of the car. But I think just looking round, looking at that G-Wing, suits the R56 perfectly, especially when it's got that JCW kit. So top half of the car, really pleased with. So we obviously had the badges and the belt line in the previous video. One thing I will do is delete that rear wiper at some point, but no, really pleased with the way the top half of the car was coming. It was obviously a bit heavy in terms of the top look with having that big wing on it. So then obviously wanted to go for the GP2 diffuser. So if we come to the bottom of the bumper now and just look at those, much better. So you can see how much that sticks out the back of the car. Good thing I like with this is the fact it's OEM. So excuse me, it's a bit dusty and a bit wet, but if you look closely you can see it's the same texture as the arches on the car as well. Fits perfectly around the exhaust, and if we go right underneath you can see we've actually got proper diffuser tunnels that go all the way back, and I love the fact it just clipped straight in. It was a little bit tricky in terms of the fitting, so again, if you do want to fit those, definitely recommend you check out the fitting video that's going live later in the week, because there's a couple of little tricks to get that to fit. But overall I think both parts are a DIY mechanic's dream to fit. Just follow the instructions in the videos I'm going to upload and you can't go wrong. So I'm really pleased with how the car's starting to turn out now. So it looks really smart. The only problem I do have, and this is where I'm open and honest with the channel, is the fact from this distance that paintwork looks spot on. It looks so super shiny and perfect. When you get up close, and personally I know I've mentioned this in previous videos, but the paint isn't good. So the car will be painted at some point. So when you see some of these fitting videos or the close-ups and you see a bit of dodgy paint, don't judge me on it. It's not the way I'm leaving the car. It certainly will be going some sort of colour. So if you've got any ideas on what colour you think I should go with it, please post down below and give me some ideas. So could I go orange, could I go green, blue, red? So many different colours to choose from. So let me know what you think. Okay, so one thing you'll notice on the car as well is I've done a full D-chrome, so there's little chrome left. So the only chrome on the exterior was the door handles. So the door handles, to get them off you have to remove the glass and take the door cards off and everything. It's a right nightmare, so I only want to do it once. So when the car's fully painted, obviously I've got to strip the door handles off to be able to get the doors painted. So what I'm going to do is go for something I don't normally recommend, which is the cheap sort of door handle covers. So I brought some cheap ones on Amazon, just as a temporary measure, just to be able to make the handles gloss back. Now I wouldn't recommend them. What I'll do is now show you a bit of a close-up. So these are the door handles, and I'm sure on the video they look really smart, and to be fair, even in person they don't look too bad. They do the job of getting rid of that chrome, so I'm certainly not going to slag the product off in terms of that. They do the job and they are cheap, and it's a lot easier than removing those door handles. But for me, it's the feel. So however much you try to stick these down, you always get a bit of a lip. So when you're grabbing in to get that handle, it's always a bit of a sharp edge back here. It doesn't feel OEM. And sometimes you get like a little bit of chrome showing down the sides or down the back. So one thing I did do on my car to just alleviate that, you're probably going to laugh, is use a bit of a black marker pen just to do a line literally along this front edge, top edge here, along the inside of the door handle, just so if any chrome did show, it was actually then shown as black. Now again, I wouldn't recommend this product. If you look on this one, especially on this side, the cut has been really poor in terms of the factory, and there is a lip there that I did think about grinding off so it's a bit lower, but actually you don't know whether that will then flick up the black finish or anything else. So I have fitted it just for now, but I'll do it properly when it comes to respraying the car, get the door handles off and get them painted, whether it's black or body colour to match whatever colour I end up going on the car. But yeah, just wanted to give you a little bit of a review or feedback. So these are just some of the cheap ones off Amazon or eBay or something like that, and I have to say the quality of them isn't great. They do a job, they look good, especially from afar, but something I wouldn't recommend. I won't put my name behind. So the car's turning out really nicely, really pleased with that new refreshed back end. Mentioned there's a couple of jobs left to do, whether it's removing that rear wiper and clearing up some of the paint, etc. Also need to do those rear calipers yellow at some point to match the front brake calipers. But so still lots more videos to come on the R56, and a lot of parts and things still to go. Still got to sort the suspension out, because that's still got to come off the car and go to the previous owner, because there's still his BC coilovers on there, so I need to make up my mind what I'm going to replace those with and get that done as well. So if you found today's video useful, please hit that like button, it really helps the channel. Comment down below if you've got any feedback in terms of the video or thoughts on the R56. And if you want to click that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you get alerts every time we do new uploads. So like I mentioned, there's going to be a fitting video for the diffuser, a fitting video for the G-Wing going live in the next week. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.